Almighty Suspect just played itself. Adam 22 just fired Almighty Suspect behind the situation that took place with Suspect and Brandon. And I'm gonna keep it real. Almighty Suspect played itself. You know, the first time that Brandon and Almighty Suspect got into it, Almighty Suspect kept stating that he loved his job and he's not gonna get off on Brandon because he don't want to lose his job. And he's been fair warned because he didn't have enough situations up there at No Jumper. However, you fast forward, we got Young and Hefe, Munchie B, Lush, Bizarre from D12, Brandon and Suspect doing the No Jumper news. Things go how it go. You know, one thing about the No Jumper news is it's gonna always be unpredictable and it's live. So, you know, add all that up, it can always be a show. Brandon said, yeah, I called you the B word. You know, it's funny how this stuff always keep circling around the word, you know, the B word. So Suspect said, I didn't hear you say that. He said, yeah, I called you a B word. Almighty Suspect chose to stand up and, you know, what they are claiming, you know, he tried to spit or he did spit on Brandon and he also allegedly whipped out a knife. Now, I be trying to give Suspect the benefit of the doubt at times, but I'm going to keep it all the way a Benji. Suspect is just not that type of guy from what I have gathered from watching him on this internet for a couple years now. You know, I'm not going to say he's just a total mark or an extreme buster, but as far as like how he wants to be perceived, he's not that tough. And that's why I say he talked himself out of his position, or he, you know, put himself in a position to lose his job, however we're going to go about it. I just feel like, how do you lose your position from a new person on the block and nothing actually took place? Like, nothing really happened. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, if y'all watch Suspect, y'all probably catch it like I catch it, that he does like to kind of show off in front of certain people. And I'm willing to bet you, Suspect, that Munchie B and Young and Hefe lost some respect for you if they had a lot for you from the get-go. But I guarantee you, on some like just street type stuff, man type stuff, gangster type stuff, you lost points with them. I guarantee you that. Anybody who was watching that, you lost points with them. Because there's nothing tough about a person saying, yeah, I called you the B word, and you talking about, well, what's up? You jumped up, pulling your pants up. It's like you exposed yourself. I don't even know why you chose to sit in that room with Brandon and Suspect. I mean, with Munchie and Lush, because you know a person like you cannot handle that setting. Because if you got Brandon, he's going to be antagonizing you. If you got Munchie B and Young and Hefe in the room, you're going to kind of want to be viewed, you know, I don't know how to really word it right now, but y'all know how Suspect carry yourself with the likes of certain type of people. He always seemed to be like trying to prove himself even more. And then Lush is another person that he always is going to try to make sure he is viewed in a certain light in the front of Lush. He just feel like Lush is an ultimate mark. Even though they got a relationship, we can definitely tell through past situations between the two that he totally views Lush as a super buster. He's never going to want to be viewed a certain type of way. Then you add on the camera. You should not have put yourself in that position, Suspect, because you totally exposed yourself. It's the same thing with Kelpie, right? Like with Kelpie, you immediately just engaged and got off. You ain't let nothing stop you. But when it came to Brandon, you stood up and you just stood directly straight up, stood where you were at, fake like pulling your pants up, talking about some let's go. Bro, that was junior high, not even junior high. That was like elementary. That was like studio. That was like just, what was that? Especially when we already know that Brandon ain't finna come behind you and gon' fight during the live stream. He keep letting everybody know the only action you got with him is if you try to take off on him first or you get with him after the live stream. But he's not going to get off into a physical altercation during the live stream. Cool. But Suspect, you got fired, and I get it. Adam 22 said he got to like hold himself to a certain standard, his brand, his business. He start bringing up TMZ examples on how they conduct themselves with their employees and how they run their company. And I do totally understand where Adam is coming from. See, suspect, you don't know how to keep up with the times. That element that you still keeping, that is like the old no jumper. You know, he kind of finna go down a different path. If you can't tell the way the roster look, the people he's kind of like giving opportunities to see if they're gonna be new personalities and all that, you just missing it, man. But for you to sit here and carry on, that's a full on, like, that was uncalled for, bro. And I couldn't see if you pulled out a knife or not. I don't know. But if you did, that was dumb. And also, why would you? Yeah, matter of fact, suspect, I did hear you saying that you spit on him. So, you know how dumb that is? For you to, like, a person say some B-word stuff to you, you stand right up. You don't go straight off. Like, you didn't do the Kelby move where you just directly go straight for Brandon. And the way that security dude stood up and got between you, it's also like, you know, he was off camera, but the way he like dove, like jumped right in front of you when you stood up, it's also like, why would you even fake yourself with the whole loud scenario when you know this security guy was gonna intervene? So now you ruining the live stream, turn it into a bad podcast episode, all because you want things to be viewed a certain way. With real people, just being viewed a certain way, never cut it. Like, you can't play with illusions with real people. You just can't. You can fool certain people. Some people will be, yeah, suspect stood up, Brandon didn't stand up, all that type of stuff. But real people see through that, bro. You stood up. The security guy was off camera, but he was right there. He was like 2 feet away from you, and you chose to stand up and cause a big old, just a big old mishap situation for nothing. And you got fired for looking like you didn't want to do nothing to somebody. How do you get fired for looking like you didn't want to do something to somebody? Just think about that. I know you're reflecting on that now. Like, you lost your opportunity, your position, your job, your revenue stream, one of them, however you want to go about it, just because you wanted to be viewed like you was going to do something. That don't work, bro. Like, all the spitting, yelling, people gotta hold you back, you whipping out knives, whipping out guns, all those things is like just fake scare tactics that don't get you no real points. So you put the brand, the business, the company, all at stake, just so you could carry on like you some fool to be reckoned with. You didn't have no real comprehension on that situation of the way you were supposed to really comprehend it. Why would you even keep engaging with Brandon? See, this is the one thing that I don't be respecting from them so-called pimp dudes, right? And I ain't saying he is or not. I'm just saying allegedly I think that he comes from, wearing a pimp uniform once upon a time in his life or whatever, right? But all that no contact sport get down and all that stuff, people get to just, they develop like a real foul mouth and a sharp tongue. And they think every situation can get handled with that sharp, foul mouth. Because if I'm not finna really want to engage with a person and try to cause harm to a person or lose out whatever I got going on, I'm not even finna engage with you with no fake tongue wrestling. I'm not gonna be talking no disrespectful terms. I'm not gonna be doing none of that. But you couldn't hold yourself. You just want to keep verbally acting like you can mark Brandon out verbally. You can't just mark everybody out verbally. It's not like that. And you pumped yourself up, and you should have just stayed in your seat. You feel me? Because just because you could call people names and refer to names and all this and that, you got to be smart enough to know, like, okay, what am I going to do if they respond what I'm going to do? You feel me? Like, it's cool you calling him the F word, everything under the sun, but it's like, did you not have a plan to, like, so what if he respond and called me these names? How you going to go about it? I don't get it. Like, that's not respected. And I know you really upset with yourself because you stated before that you really wanted your job and you liked it your job and you didn't want to lose your job. But look how you can't control yourself, put you in this twist. I believe if Ant and Munchie was not there, you probably, or even Lush wasn't there, you probably would have just let that continue to be a verbal and that would have been that. but everything is the same in the same situation that you let go prior. So you got put in the twist. But you always want to make sure you identified in the room, when you should have just been a little bit more quiet, and you should have been more calm, and you should have just spoke on some topics and act like you had some sense. But for some reason, homie, you like read the room wrong. You one of them type of dudes who think that like, okay, so maybe Brandon, he kind of comes off like he's like a square or on some nerd type of time, and then you got these people who like kind of like gangbangers or street guys in the room, and you one of them type of nerds who think that, you one of the type of dudes who feel like, oh, I could win the situation because like I'm leaning to the streets. I got other people in here who like lean to the streets. Then I got this one oddball that's not really leaning to the streets. So I'm sure it's gonna be like an elementary situation, and we gonna kind of like just dogpile him or whatever and make fun of him. He gonna be the butt of the joke. And you couldn't read the characters in the room, like, you know what I'm saying? You just putting that type of jacket on everyone instead of understanding who all in that room. And everybody ain't finna just be trying to, you know what I'm saying, play them type of games. It's real. You know what I'm saying? You could get away with them shenanigans in that room that you was doing. Other people in that room couldn't play them games. Munchie gonna have to get cracking. Ant gonna have to get cracking. And the likes of anybody else that's like really held to a certain standard, or, you know, supposed to be a good member from where they come from, gonna have to really get cracking. They can't be playing and spitting on people and whipping knives and all that stuff. But bro, you didn't have no problem. You didn't pick nothing up heavy and throw it at him. You didn't do nothing. You did not want to cause no harm. And now you gonna lose your position because you putting the job. They don't want to be always trying to figure out about some lawsuits. They don't want to be, you know, that's a bad business. That's a bad image on the brand, bro, when it's like people ain't safe up here. Got Boozy car was stolen or broken into, one of the two, I can't remember. You got Brick Baby supposed to be getting hemmed up in there, and Kelpie, just all these scenarios, bro, to where, come on, bro, you gotta really be thinking. And in the very least, you should have just not even signed up to be on the live stream that day. You probably needed your chili, and I get it, but at the same time, you gotta know yourself. And I don't think you know yourself, because if you knew yourself, you wouldn't have let that happen like that. Bro, you lost your job and all that for nothing. If you actually got cracking or hauled something at them hard, like from the table, I don't know if it was something right there, a big old ashtray or something, busted stuff, he was leaking or something, I can get it. Like he was running his mouth. You got to know what happens when you run your mouth, and you would at least got fired for a demonstration. What did you actually gain from that? Cause ain't nobody looking at it like, don't mess with suspect. Don't play with him. He ain't the one to be messed with. I believe more people are saying that you lost your position, bro, for Studion. But we been here long enough, man. Y'all let me know in the comments. Do y'all feel like suspect was wrong? Do y'all understand where Adam is coming from? Where he is for firing suspect? Let me know. And I'm going to get with y'all in the next one. I'm going to keep it Vinci like I always do. I'm going to keep it real with the game, while others do something strange for a little piece of change. I'm out.
I don't like to see a lot of internet stuff.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.